You know, one of the big criticisms that I have found giving to WWE lately, especially ever since AEW has become more popular, has been that AEW, one of the things that it caters to for at least my audience and the older audience, is a more hardcore product, a more believable product in the combat and the wrestling itself. And it's just really difficult to watch any kind of no DQ or tables or um, no holds barred or last man standing kind of match in WWE when 2 days ago or 3 days ago on AEW you're watching a barbed wire everywhere match with five guys up in a shark cage. You know what I mean? It's really difficult to find these types of things in WWE dangerous at all when AEW is putting on such more of a violent product. Now I'm not saying violence is always good. Um, in moderation, it can be fun on a wrestling show, but AEW has been doing that so much better in the past few years. Until last night, I am the option, the bar, and the opportunity here with your SummerSlam 2022 review. I'm not gonna be here forever. I know you probably have a lot of different thoughts from a lot of different content creators you want to hear from. I'm gonna give you my grades, my top three matches of the night. You probably won't be surprised by my number one, maybe by my top three though. And then I'll let you guys out of here and enjoy the rest of your weekend. A lot of people are claiming that this is the best WWE Premium Live event of 2022 so far. It's the first one under the Triple H regime. Now, at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, we'll probably investigate which one really was the best. It was definitely up there. I wouldn't immediately go ahead and say it was the best. I think a lot of people are inflating that score because of the main event. But with that said, let's get right into it. With the first match, which is when you really felt that Triple H effect probably the most tonight of anything. We opened with Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. There was no kickoff match or anything, so the show opened with Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair in a SummerSlam rematch from last year, the 26-second match, and then as well as a WrestleMania rematch. So they'd say this was the rubber match here. It was 1-1 for the Raw Women's Championship. I was a little confused that they opened the show with this one. I thought they would open it with something a little more fast-paced, like the Usos and Street Profits seemed like a good one to open with. Even Pat McAfee and Corbin could have been kind of fun. But I was a little confused, but it made sense at the end of the match. Now, the action itself in this was definitely, I wouldn't say even as good as their WrestleMania match. Obviously better than the 26-second one last year. I'd say the action itself was like a B minus, just slightly above a TV match. I was a little not the best to open with action wise. However, I did bump this up to a B because of what happened afterwards. Bayley makes her return, and she's not alone. She is now what looks like to be in a faction with Dakota Kai and Io Shirai. I believe Io Shirai is going by the name something like Io Sky now or something like that, which is close enough, I guess. So I did put this at a B. Again, the match, not amazing stuff, but what happened afterwards is very exciting. I'm excited to see that Dakota Kai and Io Shirai are getting like a second chance, probably because of Triple H. So I gave this whole segment a B. After that, we had The Miz versus Logan Paul in our, I guess you could call it one of two celebrity matches if you consider Pat McAfee a celebrity. Or even Logan Paul, I guess at this point you could say he's a WWE superstar. But you know what I mean. A lot of people are raving online about Logan Paul. I wasn't overly impressed by this. I gave it a C plus. I thought it was average as celebrity matches go. I mean, there's no denying Logan Paul is a great athlete. You know, he was flipping around there doing different things, but I don't know. I like the spot with AJ Styles coming out to attack Ciampa. That was fun. But compared to some of the other matches tonight, I just thought this was pretty average, pretty basic celebrity match. Logan Paul picks up the skull crushing finale to get revenge on the Miz. I went C plus here. You could make the argument. I could be swayed up to B minus here, but I went C plus on that. Next up was probably the low point of the night. Not because it was any bad wrestling, but just because it wasn't much of a match, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was Theory versus Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. The winner was never in doubt here. Obviously, Bobby Lashley was going to retain. He just got the title. Theory's more focused on that undisputed WWE Universal Championship because he is Mr. Money in the Bank. He taps out very quickly when Lashley gets him in the Hurt Lock. Kind of exactly what we expected here. So I just gave it a C. It was quick. It was very predictable. Nothing wrong with it to go below a C, but it was definitely the low point of the night. Next up, we had the Judgment Day versus the Mysterios. Another very predictable finish here. Edge returns to make the save for the Mysterios to help them score the win over the Judgment Day. I thought this was really a much needed win for the Judgment Day. I mean, they got some good revenge or some good I don't know what to say. They were on top Monday for Mysterio's 20th anniversary, but they actually haven't won many matches, many official matches in the ring. And now you know that Edge is probably going to wipe the floor with them. So not looking good for the Judgment Day, which really sucks because I like the Judgment Day a lot, or at least I like who is in the faction. But it looks like Edge is coming back. That's probably Edge versus Finn Balor at Clash at the Castle, which, don't get me wrong, is going to be a great match. But can they finally give a win to the Judgment Day over Edge? I'm not sure they'll do that. I gave it a B minus. It was pretty action packed, but nothing you really wouldn't see on Raw or SmackDown. AJ Styles coming out to a big pop was a lot of fun though, and Edge had that Brood return with his new kind of spooky character. Um, I would like to see Edge return to the Rated R Superstar just because the Judgment Day is kind of that spooky faction. I feel like we don't need to have spooky versus spooky here. But it looks like he might be sticking with that Brood type character for this feud with Finn Balor. Um, Finn Balor has been rumored to maybe be changing to the Demon for this feud, which is fine. I'd like him to just sort of bring back the greatness of that character after the catastrophe at Extreme Rules last year. Anyways, enough said about that. We'll get into that when we get closer to Clash at the Castle. But I gave this a B minus. Next up was another B minus. Happy Corbin versus Pat McAfee. I was a little disappointed with this. McAfee, similar to Logan Paul, shows that he has been learning a lot, putting the work in to be able to go with these wrestlers in the ring. However, like I said, I thought this was going to be the surprise match of the night. I thought his other two matches, the one with Adam Cole, talking about McAfee, the one with Adam Cole and the one with Theory at WrestleMania were both better than this. I did like this feud, though. I did enjoy it. It was one of the only entertaining things on SmackDown, I should say. But a little bit disappointed. I gave it a B minus because the Pat McAfee's entrance was fun. I am mad that he got rid of Seven Nation Army, but this was kind of a remixed version of it, so that was fine. B minus for that. Next up, we had the Street Profits versus the Usos for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships with special guest referee Jeff Jarrett. First off, I'm going to go by. It would have been very difficult to do this, but I'm just going to say first of all that this was not as good as their Money in the Bank match. That would have been very difficult to do. However, it was pretty good. They had some close near falls like last time. There were a few instances where they did have me thinking the Street Profits were going to win the titles, notably when Montez Ford took off with the From the Heavens, but he wasn't able to make the pin in time. That was a really close one. Jeff Jarrett did a pretty good job refereeing here. He was a little bit annoying and obnoxious at times with his 5 counts, but overall I thought he did a good job. Didn't really play too much of a role in the finish, other than that they were trying to tell the story with the Usos on SmackDown that maybe he'd be biased because of the super kick from Jey Uso, but that really didn't play much of a factor. The Usos pick up the win here. A degraded Street Profits in the ring after. They might be finally starting to tell the story. What I predicted would happen here might be happening at the next big pay-per-view, Clash at the Castle. A Street, or maybe even on TV before then, would be probably more likely. Potentially a Montez Ford heel turn. I was thinking it was going to be a Dawkins heel turn, but it might be a Montez Ford one instead. I gave this a B. Like I said, not near. Not. I think I believe I gave a B plus to the Money in the Bank one. It was not nearly as good at that, but definitely go check this one out. I would say it was worth your time, and I put it as number 3 on my matches of the night. And I forgot to mention number 2 for my matches of the night was that Belair and Lynch match. I put it above the tag match simply because of that moment at the end with Bayley's return, as well as Dakota Kai and Io Shirai. Now, after that, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line. It was Ronda Rousey taking on Liv Morgan. I really, going into this, thought the finish was never in doubt. The story they were trying to tell was that Liv is the underdog and she has no chance of winning against a fresh Ronda Rousey. They wanted you to believe that, so I thought, well, of course, they're going to give Liv Morgan the underdog win here. However, Rousey dominated this match. She had about 4 ankle locks within like a minute. Liv Morgan kept on finding a way to make it to the ropes. Liv Morgan, though, got in like zero offense. She was able to get a cheeky win. She started tapping while Rousey was being pinned, and before Rousey could be pinned for 3, she was tapping out. I thought the match was over and we had a new champion, but apparently the ref did not see the tap out. He counted the 3 on Rousey instead. So Liv Morgan gets a bit of a cheeky heel win here. I'm not saying she's turning heel or anything, but she does take the sneaky win. So it looks like we're going to be getting this match for a third time, whether that's on SmackDown or Clash at the Castle. We are yet to see. I think you could stretch it out to Clash at the Castle. I wouldn't go any further than that. Just because I don't think they have anyone built up on SmackDown ready to fight Liv just yet. They're grooming Lacey Evans for that spot, but I don't think she's going to be ready in time for Clash at the Castle. So you could stretch that to then as well. The question is, who do you have win at Clash at the Castle? Most likely Ronda, but we will see as that gets closer. I gave that a B- as well. B- was a common score tonight. I would say a lot was just above average, which is kind of what that B- score symbolizes. So nothing really huge to write home about to this point, as I said. But finally, we have something that will be talked about not just for the rest of this year, not just for the next coming years, but probably for our entire life as wrestling fans. This was a potential match of the year candidate. It smashed all of the things I had said previously about WWE not being violent enough with their weapons and things like that. This was an A plus. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, Cowboy Brock Lesnar coming out on the tractor, jumping in top of the lift, jumping into the ring. This man is just a monster. You got to love Brock Lesnar. If this is the last time we ever see Brock Lesnar in a WWE ring, he went out with a bang. I mean, this was just an awesome, awesome ride of a match. Might be my match of the year. Might have even been better than Anarchy in the arena. But that's a debate to be had later in the year. Roman Reigns does retain after keeping the Beast down, hitting him with chairs, hitting him with titles, stacking things on top of him. It was awesome. Theory did try to cash in. He got F5 really quick. I'm glad they didn't do the cash in right now. It was not the time for that. I did think Dolph Ziggler was going to stop the cash in, but it ended up just being Lesnar himself saying, nope, not today. And Theory gets made to look like a complete geek yet again. But like I said, this match was just insane. I mean, of course, you have probably the most memorable spot. Lesnar pushes the ring, and then not only pushes it, but he lifts a corner of the ring. Roman gets flung out of it, sells it amazingly. A lot of close calls for Roman here, a lot of close 9 counts. These guys both did a great job in this. Definitely go check this out. This was an A plus. And finally, with the help of the Usos, after Paul Heyman gets F5, Theory tries to cash in, Roman gets lifted in the tractor. The Beast finally gets put down for 10 after they stack a ton of stuff on top of him. A lot of people are saying the count must be reset, but honestly, in this case, who cares? This match was awesome. Definitely check it out. A plus. Roman Reigns retains, and now the question is: does he hang on to these titles past Clash at the Castle? Does he hang on to one? Does he lose both to the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre? That's a conversation to be had in the coming weeks. There are no pay-per-views or premium live events for AEW or WWE or any other promotions that I really cover on here. I might be doing some UFC coverage in August, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Overall, for SummerSlam, I did give this a B. Like I said, a lot was in that B minus, C plus range, some Bs, but this A plus really boosted that average up to a B pay-per-view, and it'll go down as one of the better, if not the best, of 2022. So that is all we have for now. Again, my top 3 matches was the Usos versus the Street Profits at 3, Belair versus Lynch at 2, with the return of Bayley and her new faction, and then at number 1, the last man standing match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. I will see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching, listening. I hope you enjoyed SummerSlam. I hope you have a great rest of your summer. I am the option, the bar, and the opportunity, Ben, and I will see you all soon. Thanks, guys.